Good morning, students. Today, again, we are going to continue with the poem The Lotos Eaters by Alfred Lord Tennyson. We continue with the choric song being sung by the companions of Ulysses. They continue. How sweet it were hearing the downward streams, with half shut eyes ever to seem, falling asleep in a half dream. To dream and dream like yonder amber light, which will not leave the myrrh bush on the height. They continue, they say, how sweet it were, how delightful it is, hearing the downward stream, to stay here and hear the sound of the river that is coming from the interior and falling into the sea, downward stream. With half shut eyes ever to see. It is very delightful to hear the sound of the falling river into the sea with almost in an unconscious state with half shut eyes. Ever to seem falling asleep in half dream. The condition is it seemed as if they are half slept. To dream and dream. Keep on eating lotus fruit, lotus flower, and keep on dreaming continuously, constantly. It is delightful. Like yonder amber light, which will not leave the myrrh bush on the height. Endless dreaming. It is like the golden light of the setting sun, which is falling on the myrrh bush. It is an evergreen plant which is there on the top of the hill, and the rays of the setting sun, they are falling on the bush, and it seems as if it is not going to end. To hear each other's whispered speech, eating the lotus day by day. It is also delightful to hear each other's voice whisper a low conversation by staying here, by sitting here and eating the lotus day by day. To watch the crisping ripples on the breeze and tender curving lines of creamy spray. It is also delightful to watch small curling waves of the sea on the beach, on the bank. It is also delightful to see the waves which are producing white foam on the surface of the sea. To lend our hearts and spirits wholly to the influence of mild-minded melancholy. It is also delightful to surrender our heart, our spirit, our soul completely, wholly. It is also delightful to indulge our souls, our hearts completely to the effect of mild-minded melancholy. The use of alliteration is there. It is very sweet to think or to meditate on the sad thoughts, the past time, the past experiences. To muse and brood and live again in memory. It is also delightful to stay here eating the fruit and to recollect to think upon the memories of the past and once again live in the past memory with those old faces of our infancy. It is delightful to recall our childhood friends, childhood period, that time we spent in the native land with our childhood friends. It is again going to be very pleasure giving. It is again going to be very delightful to stay here and recollect the memories of the past time. Heaped over with a mound of grass, two handfuls of white dust shut in an urn of brass. It is good, it is delightful to remember our old friends who are no more now, who are dead and who are buried in the graves. And over the graves, there is growing thick grass. Some of the bodies, they are buried in the graves, some of the bodies converted into the ashes, and ashes which are kept in an urn of brass. Dear is the memory of our wedded lives, and dear the last embraces of our wives, and their warm tears. But all hath suffered change, for surely now our household hearths are cold. Our sons inherit us, our looks are strange, and we should come like ghosts to trouble joy. They continue that it is very dear, very lovable, very affectionate, whereas the memory of our wedding life is concerned when we were there in our native land along with our family, along with our wives. They have been away from their families, from their wives for more than 20 years. They say that it is very delightful, very, very pleasure giving to stay here and recall our wedded lives. And dear the last embraces of our wives. We should also remember when we departed, our wives, they hugged us at that time of departure. And there were tears in the eyes of the wives. And dear the last embraces of our wives and their warm tears. At the time of departure, at the time of separation, our wives, they hugged us. They were weeping at that time. But now, after 20 years, they think all have suffered change. Now everything might have changed. In these 20 years, our wives, our children, they might have forgotten us. For surely now our household hearths are cold. Definitely, the fire that was burnt in the kitchen for cooking purpose, for cooking different type of dishes for us, now that hearth, that fire, it would have become cold. There is no fire, no hearth in the kitchen where our wives used to cook different dishes for us. Our sons inherit us. Our sons might have taken our place. Our looks are strange. Because of these 20 years, there is a change in our appearance. If we return there, we would be unknown to them. They would not recognize us. And we should come like ghost to trouble joy. And if we return there, we would be horrible creatures to disturb the joyful life of our families. Or else the island princes overboard have eat our substances. If it is not so, another possibility is there, that the landlords, the powerful person of our island who were overboard might have encroached our field, our farm, our land. Else the island princes overboard have eat our substance. They have captured our substance, our property. And the minstrel sings before them of the 10 years war in Troy. Now, if we return there, what we can find? The minstrels, the royal singers, they might be singing the story of the Trojan War that lingered for 10 years, the war that we fought. And the minstrel sings before them of the 10 years, the war in Troy, and our great deeds as half forgotten things. Our bravery, our great action during the war, these royal singers would sing. Now, such things are half forgotten. Is there confusion in the little isle? Now they are confused. They ask to one another, is there going to be any kind of disorder whereas our native land is concerned? Let what is broken so remain. The gods are hard to reconcile. They decide, whatsoever is there, let it remain as such. Because it is very difficult to change the decision of the God. What the God has decided, it happened. It is very difficult to provide delight to them. It is very difficult to please the gods now. It is hard to settle over once again. It is very difficult to settle the family life once again by returning to the native land. There is confusion worse than death. Whereas our land is concerned, and if we return there, the disorder, the confusion, it is far more bad as compared to the death. Trouble on trouble, pain on pain. Long labor unto aged breath. We are already in trouble. And if we return there, if we reach there, we will face another trouble. That would be trouble on trouble, suffering on suffering. And it is going to be hard work. It is going to be a very difficult task unto aged breath for the old people like us. Sore tasks to hearts worn out by many wars. It is going to be a very painful task. It is going to be a very difficult task to the people like us who are completely exhausted, who are completely tired because of a number of wars we have fought, and eyes grown dim with gazing on the violet stars. Our physique has also become weak. We are now physically weak. Our eyesight has become dim because constantly we have been there amid the sea. Constantly we were there looking at the pole star, which was there to guide us, which was there to tell us about the proper direction. Constantly, for years, we have been there amid the sea and looking at the pole star as a guide, and as a result of that, our eyes have become weak. Now, we should not return, we should stay here, we should take rest. It is going to be a very hard, very difficult task to reconcile by returning the native land. Mark it here. Thank you very much.